Number 1. In this question, you will be asked to give your opinion about a familiar topic. After you hear the question, you will have 15 seconds to prepare your response and 45 seconds to speak. Some people enjoy watching movies or television in their spare time. Others prefer reading books or magazines. State which you prefer and explain why.
Begin to prepare your response after the beep. Begin speaking after the beep.
Number 2. In this question, you will read a short passage about a campus situation and then listen to a talk on the same topic. You will then answer a question using information from both the reading passage and the talk. After the question, you will have 30 seconds to prepare your response and 60 seconds to speak. Read the announcement about City University's plans for the campus gym. You will have 45 seconds to read. Begin reading now. Listen to two students discussing the plan.
Hey, have you read about this? The plans for the gym?
Yeah, but I could sure think of better things to do with the money.
You're kidding. I thought you'd be all for it. You go to the gym all the time.
Yeah, but I never have any problem. Sure, there are a lot of people there, but I never have to wait to use the exercise bikes or even the weight machines. Do you?
Not really. It's not that busy.
The other thing is, well, we have all sorts of exercise programs, a terrific swimming pool that's always open, great running paths, all kinds of sports teams. I'm just saying that a bunch of new machines in the gym aren't going to make any difference. People like to get their exercise in different ways, and on this campus there are already plenty of choices.
You may be right.
The woman expresses her opinion about the plan described in the announcement. Briefly summarize the plan, then state her opinion about the plan, and explain the reasons she gives for holding that opinion.
Begin to prepare your response after the beep. Begin speaking after the beep.
Number 3. In this question, you will read a short passage on an academic subject and then listen to a talk on the same topic. You will then answer a question using information from both the reading passage and the talk. After the question, you will have 30 seconds to prepare your response and 60 seconds to speak. Now read the passage about Keystone species. You will have 50 seconds to read the passage. Begin reading now. Now listen to part of a lecture on this topic in a biology class.
Let's take the elephant, for example. Elephants are an important species in the African grasslands. Without them, the grasslands actually stop being grasslands at all, if you can believe it. They change to forests. What happens is that in the grasslands, some types of seeds other than grasses can sprout and begin to grow, which, if they're left alone, they could eventually grow into shrubs or trees. But what happens is that elephants come along and eat the sprouting plants, or the plants get crushed under the elephant's feet. And even if a plant or two manage to survive, it won't last long because sooner or later the elephant will knock it over or pull it out of the ground. So, what if the elephants weren't there and these plants were allowed to grow to maturity? Well, pretty soon there'd be whole clusters of trees. Their branches and leaves would shade the grasses, and without the sunlight, the grasses won't survive. So pretty soon the grass disappears, trees grow in its place, and eventually the whole grassland changes to forest. And as you can imagine, the elephant has an impact on other animal species in the habitat as well. A lot of animals in this habitat rely on the grasses for food, for example. When the grasses disappear, when their food source disappears, these animals are eventually forced to leave. Gradually, some new species come into the habitat, species that are better suited to life in the forest. These new species replace the ones that left. So you can see the influence of the elephant on the environment is significant.
The professor gives examples of the effects of elephants on the African grasslands habitat. Using the examples from the talk, explain why elephants are considered a keystone species.
Begin to prepare your response after the beep. Begin speaking after the beep.
Number 4. In this question, you will listen to a short lecture. You will then be asked to summarize important information from the lecture. After you hear the question, you will have 20 seconds to prepare your response and 60 seconds to speak. Now listen to part of a lecture in a creative writing class.
As writers, you want the dialogue in your story to have impact. Well, there are many ways to do that, and I'm going to talk about two of them: exaggeration and understatement. Now, understatement is the opposite of exaggeration, but you can actually use them both to do the same thing, to create emphasis or impact. Let's compare them and see how they do that. Okay, exaggeration. When you want your characters to emphasize a point, you can have them describe things or their feelings as bigger or more extreme than they really are. For example, your main character comes back from a very long walk and she's very tired. Well, you can have her say, "Boy, I'm tired." Or you can have her say, "I can't take another step." Well, of course she can take another step, but you see, if she exaggerates, she'll make her point in a more forceful and interesting way. But you can also create emphasis with understatement. And like I said, it's the opposite of exaggeration, but it does the same thing. With understatement, you emphasize by saying less than you mean. That sounds paradoxical, so I'll give you an example. From real life. My friend Ed is a very talented cook. So last week he cooked me a delicious meal. Now I could have said to him, "This food is really great, Ed, but that's kind of boring." Plus, Ed knew I thought the food was delicious. I'd eaten 3 servings, so instead I said, "This food's not bad, Ed." Now clearly the food was a lot better than not bad, but by understating, by describing the food as less good than it really was, I actually made a stronger statement. The characters in your stories can do this too.
Using the examples mentioned by the professor, describe 2 ways that writers create emphasis when writing dialogue.
Begin to prepare your response after the beep. Begin speaking after the beep.